All right, Shalom, Israel, Shalom, Shalom. This brother Obadiah from New Wine Congregation. And first and foremost, want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh by Shemi Awashai. Yahweh is the true name of who the world calls God. Bahashem just means in the name of. And Yahweh Shai is who the world calls Jesus Christ. In this video, I'm going to be touching on is the true meaning behind Thanksgiving. My bad. The true meaning behind Thanksgiving. And I say true meaning because we've been hearing about the false meaning our whole life. Growing up, we hear about the pilgrims and the Native American Indians, how they had a feast in honor to give thanks to being alive. That's what we taught in school. It was a time when I was younger. I want to say like first, second grade. First, second grade. We had like a little play, and you had the pilgrims and you had the Indians. I was a pilgrim. You know what I'm saying? They had me dressed up as a pilgrim unknowingly. I didn't understand the knowledge at that time, but it starts you off at a young age. And the play was the pilgrims and the Indians were friends. That was what the play was about. The pilgrims and the Indians coming together, laughing, enjoying themselves, having a good time. That's what the play was about. So when we grow up, get older as adults, we think Thanksgiving is just a day when we give thanks. Give thanks for family and friends. And even then, when people have the Thanksgiving dinner, how many people actually before they eat giving thanks? They're going around the table and every person giving thanks or saying out loud things that they thankful for. People don't do that. People just keep Thanksgiving just to eat. It's a lot of people that know the truth. It's a lot of people that know the true meaning behind Thanksgiving, but they would rather eat. You know what I'm saying? They'd rather eat instead of not eat, because a lot of people love to eat, man. And that's how you get so-called black and Hispanics, man. You know what I'm saying? That's how you get us, man. Just have a cookout, have food. Just let them know, it's gonna be food here. Come get some food. They gonna show up, even at funerals. They eating food after the funeral. They done forgot who died. They ask, hey bro, who died again? We like, bro, I don't know though, but they chicken good though, bro. They just there to eat. We just show up to things just to eat. We don't question nothing, man. And when we do know the truth about it, we don't care because we just there for the food. People put on their best outfits just to go sit in the living room to eat. They come together with people they don't really like. They come together with people they don't really know. You know what I'm saying? That they haven't talked to each other for a year. They ain't even talked to each other for a whole year. But Thanksgiving come around, that's when family want to get together. Right? They don't come together no other time. You can have any other day days you can come together as a family to eat food on, but you decide to do it on the wickedest day, one of the wickedest holidays that we have. That's what our people got to understand, man. Our people say they so-called Christians, say they followers of Christ. When you celebrate days like Thanksgiving, you was an enemy of the Most High God. And people that's watching this video may not know the true meaning behind Thanksgiving, but I'm finna get an article. I'm gonna read it for the people that probably didn't know the true meaning behind Thanksgiving. And Lord willing, when I read this article, brothers and sisters will stop celebrating this wicked demonic day, because this day is demonic, man. When you partake in this meal, you partaking in a sacrifice, a ritual. Because these so-called Native American, these Indians, you know what I'm saying, these from the Pequot tribes, like if I said it wrong, the Pequot tribe, right? Those were the Native American Indians that the Pilgrims had came and slaughtered. These are God's chosen people. These the Israelites from the tribe of Gad and Reuben. So brothers and sisters celebrating this day, they're celebrating the slaughter of their people. You know what I'm saying? So I'm finna go ahead and hop into this article through the spirit and power of the Most High God, man. Look, people spend all their money to get a turkey, to get ham, all that. The grocery stores empties. empty because people getting all the plates and stuff, getting ready for Thanksgiving. But let's see the true meaning behind Thanksgiving, and should we be celebrating this wicked day, and does the Most High God honor this wicked day? We finna see. And it reads, most of us associate the holidays with happy pilgrims and Indians sitting down to a big feast. And that did happen once. It did happen once because it was a feast, if I am mistaken, in 1621. I think it was in 1621 when the pilgrims, that was the feast when the Native Americans actually taught the pilgrims how to survive. When they came to the land, they taught them how to survive, how to cook, and even though the pilgrims brought smallpox over there and it killed a lot of our Native American brothers and sisters, they still had mercy on the pilgrims and they taught them how to survive there in the land. So I think it was a time during the fall, the pilgrims had a feast and they invited the Indians, and they celebrated basically a feast just for them surviving and being alive and not getting exterminated, basically because a lot of them was dying off. If it wasn't for the Native American Indians, if it wasn't for them, it wouldn't, and them so-called white people would have died, all of them. But the Native American Indians, our brothers and sisters, our mighty brothers and sisters, had mercy upon them and taught them how to survive on the land. And the pilgrims had hosted a feast to celebrate them being alive and not all dying off. But that wasn't the Thanksgiving feast, though. As we taught that that's the Thanksgiving feast, which is not. It's not the Thanksgiving feast. I'm going to show you what the Thanksgiving feast is about. So it says, the story began in 1614 when a band of English explorers sailed home to England with a ship full of Patuxet Indians bound for slavery. They left behind smallpox, which virtually wiped out those who had escaped. By the time the pilgrims arrived in Massachusetts Bay, they found only one living Patuxet Indian, a man named Squanto, who had survived slavery in England and knew their language. He taught them to grow corn and to fish, and negotiated a peace treaty between the pilgrims and the Wampanoag Nation. At the end of their first year, the pilgrims held a great feast honoring Squanto and the Wampanoags. So that's the first. It's the first. It's not the Thanksgiving feast. It's the first feast of like I was saying. Squanto basically taught them how to survive. Man, he taught them how to fish. He taught them how to basically build things, how to grow corn, because they didn't know the land, and they came during the time of the winter, so it was cold and the land was dying off during that weather. So Squanto taught them basically how to survive. But as word spread in England about the paradise to be found in the New World, religious zealots called Puritans began arriving by the boatload, finding no fences around the land. So you have more pilgrims came. They started hearing about how it's another land over here, and it's more pilgrims over here, and the Native American Indians, over here. You had the word spreading around the earth. So you had more Puritans started arriving around the boatload. So it was a lot of them started coming. You know the mindset that they had when it was coming. They were trying to take over this land. They had that was the mindset that they had. They were finna take over this land and finna make it ours. That's why they was coming so deep. And they say find no fence around the land. They considered it to be in the public domain. Joined by other British settlers, they seized land, capturing strong young natives for slaves and killing the rest. But the Pequot, so I thought, yeah, but the Pequot Nation had not agreed to the peace treaty. Squanto had negotiated and they fought back. The Pequot War was one of the bloodiest Indian wars ever fought. So, they came over with blood. They came over with the mindset of, we finna take over this land, we finna kill everybody, we finna take some of the strong Native Americans as slaves. And this always, it always been war between our Native American brothers and the so-called white man. The Battle of Wounded Knee. You had the Trail of Tears. You got this war right here. During the time of the Pequot Nation, the Pequot Indians. And this is why we have, or Thanksgiving is known to this day for the slaughter of our Native American brothers and sisters from the Pequot tribe. So they say it was the bloodiest Indian war ever fought. So like it says in 1637. In 1637, near present day, Groton, Connecticut, over 700 men, women, and children of the Pequot tribe had gathered for their annual Green Corn Festival, which is our Thanksgiving celebration. In the pre-dawn hours, the sleeping Indians were surrounded by English and Dutch mercenaries who ordered them to come outside. So they were just celebrating their Green Corn Festival. And I think our brothers and sisters still do this to this day, man. They still keep the heritage going. They still celebrate this festival to this day. But it was a time where they celebrated the feast, and they it said during dawn hours, so it was sleeping. After they got done celebrating, they probably drank a little wine, ate some good food, and they sleep in their little tents. And they said they were surrounded by the English and the Dutch mercenaries who ordered them to come outside. So they ordered the Dutch and the English, man. These are so-called white people. The Dutch and the English ordered them to come outside. And this is why a lot of our brothers and sisters, Hispanic brothers and sisters, are Catholic. Because this was forced on them when the so-called white man came over here. He came over here with religion. He came over here with Christianity, with being a Catholic. So a lot of our Hispanic brothers and sisters say they Catholic because this is what our slave masters brought and forced upon us. And this, if you, I want y'all to think about this. If brothers and sisters ever seen Avatar and Avatar 2, this what it reminds you of, man. Because if you remember Avatar 2, you had the so-called white people that was coming. They was coming and destroying all the different avatars, burning down their villages, burning down their tents. They was destroying it. They was coming in and taking over, man, to try to find the other avatars. And this is exactly what happened during the time of how Thanksgiving came about. It's the same way when you watch Avatar 2, how they was doing to our brothers and sisters. Because those avatars represent, especially when you watch the first Avatar, they represent the Native American brothers and sisters because they were riding horses. They had the attire of the Native American Indians. They were just blue. But those are our brothers and sisters. So when I first read this article, I'm like, dang, but this remind me of Avatar and Avatar 2, how this happened. And they know that. They put it right in front of our face in their movies. So it says, I'm going to start doing this so y'all can read along, know where I'm at. English Dutch mercenaries who ordered them to come outside. Those who came out were shot or clubbed to death. Those who came out were shot or clubbed to death, while the terrified women and children who huddled inside the longhouse were burnt alive. So you had brothers and sisters, the ones that came out. You had the so-called white man pilot. The Bible say his words is smooth as butter, but war is in his heart. So you probably had matter of fact, let me get that precept. This Psalms 55 and 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. So the Bible said the words of his mouth was smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. So, the so-called white man, he probably was talking to him, hey, just come outside. We just want to talk. We're not going to hurt you. We promise not to hurt you. Just come outside. We just want to talk. We just want to, we just want to get some of the land. Talk to you about the land. We put the guns down. We don't have no guns out here. And our brothers and sisters probably went outside and they say they killed them. They say they shot most of them, man. And the women that was scared to come outside, like, they was terrified. Who wouldn't be? You don't know what's going on. You seeing your people getting killed. You hearing people screaming. So they ain't want to come outside because they ain't trust the so-called white man. And by them not coming outside, he burnt them alive. This is what I'm reading. I want brothers and sisters to truly understand this and think about this. What I'm reading right now is Thanksgiving and how Thanksgiving came about. If this would have never happened, it wouldn't have been no Thanksgiving. This is the true meaning behind Thanksgiving that the school is not going to tell us. And they're trying to take it out the textbooks. This is how Thanksgiving came about. By the rape, rob, and murder of the so-called Native Americans, man. It says, the next day, the governor of the Massachusetts Bay Colony declared a day of Thanksgiving. So the next day after they just, burnt our people alive, done shot our men, done went to war with our men, done came over here to try to take the land. It says after all that killing they did, they declared a day called Thanksgiving because 700 unarmed men, women, and children had been murdered. So they celebrating the day of murdering people. Now this is the day that we celebrate today in 2023. It's the same as that day. When we celebrate Thanksgiving, we are literally celebrating in the remembrance of the slaughter of our Native American brothers and sisters. So when you have people say, so-called white people, when they say they're not racist, when you say when white people say they're not racist, and when people say this country is changing, it's not how it used to be. It's not racist like it used to be. As your average American or so-called white American, do they celebrate Thanksgiving? Majority of them gonna say yeah. So you can tell them the meaning behind Thanksgiving. They still gonna celebrate it as well as our people. They still gonna celebrate it because it's now we in 2023. It's part of it's part of the culture, the American culture. So now you can tell people what it truly means. They still gonna celebrate it, man. Cause they gonna be like, oh, I've been doing this since I was little. And I ain't finna change nothing now. That's gonna get a lot of people put to death. Cause you celebrating, you partaking in, you are partaking in a remembrance of death and murder. That's demonic. That's like somebody kill. That's like somebody kill your come in your house and slaughter your family, and you make a feast day. That's like a people come into your house and kill your whole family and make a feast day to remember the killing of your family. Then you celebrate that feast with them to remember the killing of your people, of your family. That's sick. So let me keep reading on. Cheered by their victory, the brave colonists and their Indian allies attacked village after village. So I'm telling you, that Avatar 2 movie. Watch, y'all, I think it's called Avatar, The Way of the Water. Y'all watch that, man, because that's the same thing those people was doing. They was attacking villages and after villages. They attacked village after village. Women and children over 14 were sold into slavery. So this is proof that not only was the Southern Kingdom, the so-called black people, were sold into slavery, our 10 tribe brothers, the Hispanic brothers and sisters, the so-called Native Americans, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Dominicans, they were sold into slavery as well. The same thing we went through is the same thing they went through. Women and children over 14 were sold into slavery. And you had probably the women were sex slaves. Same as the so-called African-American women in slavery. They were sex slaves. It was no difference what they did, man. It was the same. We got the same common oppressor. That's why we got to understand black and Hispanics. We the same people. We got the same common enemy. He did the same thing to us as he did to y'all 10 tribes, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Dominicans, Guatemalan, Panamanians, all our Hispanic Native American brothers and sisters. It says, while the rest were murdered. So, you know, you had our brothers and sisters were sold into slavery, and the rest that wasn't sold into slavery were murdered. That's why it's very rare that you come across a lot of Native American brothers and sisters, man, because Esau did a number on them, man, throughout history. This ain't the only war that our Native American brothers and sisters was in with the so-called white man. Boats loaded with as many as 500 slaves regularly left the ports of New England. Bounties were paid for Indian scalps to encourage as many deaths as possible. This Thanksgiving. This is Thanksgiving. What am I reading right now is how Thanksgiving came about. This is evil. This is what we're not taught in school. Thanksgiving is not have a feast to give thanks to family and friends and just from being. That's not the truth. That's not the truth. That's a fairy tale. What I'm reading right now is the truth and how Thanksgiving came about and what we celebrate today. And Thanksgiving 2023 is to remember what happened in 1637. So it says, following an especially successful raid against the Pequot in what is now Stamford, Connecticut. They took it over, man. So-called white man, they took it over. Hold on, let me get that precept. I gotta get a precept, man. Salaki. Most High got me in Psalms right now, man. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 49 and verse 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. So once they conquer a land, bruh, once the so-called white man, once he conquer a land, he changed the name. Because I'm pretty sure our 10 tribe brothers and sisters, they had names. They had names that they named these lands, man, before the so-called white man came over. They probably had their own names. So-called white man came over. He called it. We're gonna call it Connecticut. He came over and changed the whole thing. Now it's Stamford, Connecticut. That's what it's known. It was our the land up for our Pequot and our Native American brothers and sisters. So-called white man came over and took it over and said, now we're gonna call it Stamford, Connecticut. The churches announced a second day of Thanksgiving to celebrate victory over the heathen savages. Now, this is the churches, right? I want you to understand this. This is the churches. They're supposed to be holy. Why is the church celebrating a day to remember the slaughter of a people? God's people at that. That's why it ain't nothing new. This is why in 2023 you still have pastors in these churches, these Christian churches, they still celebrate Thanksgiving. Where in the Bible, where is Thanksgiving in the Bible? Where in the Bible does it say? Because we know the Bible got in the Bible is high holy days that we commanded to celebrate. But, you know, people say they Christians. People say they follow of Christ. When did Christ ever celebrate Thanksgiving? Where in the Bible did it say he got a turkey, he got some ham, he got some cornbread, and they celebrated a day called Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving wasn't even around back then. You see what I'm saying? So why do we celebrate these days? It said the churches. That's how you know these churches are wicked. The churches announced a second day of Thanksgiving. So they had a second day. It was going for 2 days strong to celebrate victory over the heathen savages. And they called our brothers and sisters heathen savages, man. How can you call our brothers and sisters heathen savages when if it wasn't for them, you would have died off? If it wasn't for them, if our brothers and sisters could have let y'all die off, man. Y'all was dying off. I'm telling you, they brought diseases. They brought smallpox. It was killing a lot of our brothers and sisters. They brought these diseases over to the land because they didn't know how to bathe, right? They didn't know how to take care of themselves, man. We taught them how to survive, but yet they call our brothers, they call us the heathen savages. During the feasting, the hat off heads of natives were kicked through the streets like soccer balls. So they cut off our brothers and sisters' heads and they kicked them like soccer balls. Same thing they did with us. They had a game with the so-called African Americans. It was called Hit the Nigger Baby. And this game still played at the fair, but it's not called Hit a Nigger Baby. I forgot what that game called when we'll look it up. Did you know in the early 1900s, the most popular game at the fair was Hit the Nigger Baby? This is where people would throw baseballs at toddlers, African Americans. This is history they don't give in school. You know what I'm saying? So, you see, you can see. But this game still is at the fair, though. But they don't use real humans, but this game is still used at the fair. But back then, they used little babies, and you hit the little babies with the baseballs. You know, so there ain't nothing new what they did to our Native American brothers and sisters when they cut off their heads and used it as a soccer ball, which is demonic. All of this what I'm reading is Thanksgiving. So when you up here thinking about the food and Thanksgiving, and when you around the table with your family, I want you to think about you partaking in a murder feast. This is a murder feast, man. So let me keep going. It says, even the friendly Wampanoag did not escape the madness. Their chief was beheaded and his head impaled on a pole in I think it's Plymouth. Let me see. Plymouth. In Plymouth, Massachusetts. So, you know, they cut the chief. They beheaded the chief. His head. Where it remained on display for 24 years. So they take honor to see the so-called white man. They took honor in what they did to us, man. They took honor in what they did to our people. They cut this man's head off and they had it remained on display for 24 years. And that remind me of the sister Sarah Bartman. It remind me of the sister Sarah Bartman, man, that they had her body on display in a museum for a long time. Y'all can look her up. Her name's Sarah Bartman. They had her body in on display. So the same way they did to our Native American brothers and sisters is the same way they did it to us, man, the so-called African Americans. They had her body on display because she had a bigger figure, and so-called white people have never seen that before, man. So they admired that, and so when she died, they put her body in a museum like she was a gorilla or something, or an ape, so people can see her and see her body and wow at her body. That's demonic. That's sick. What was it? Oh yeah, here you go right here. The killing became The killings became more and more frenzied, with days of Thanksgiving feasts being held after each successful massacre. George Washington finally suggested that only one day of Thanksgiving per year be set aside instead of celebrating each and every massacre. So George Washington, he didn't try to end it. That's how you know these men are demonic. These supposed to be the founding fathers. These the men that you have on the what them statues called? Let me see. The Mount Rushmore, I think. Is Abraham? Who was George Washington on there? And Abraham Lincoln, Theodore Roosevelt. That's crazy. They got three other presidents: George Washington, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. These are the men that pushed Thanksgiving to continue on. These three men, and Thomas Jefferson, if I ain't mistaken, he funded the Trail of Tears. These the men that they put on the on Mount Rushmore as the founding fathers. But these men were murderers. These men got down with murder and rape. So they had slaves. Abraham Lincoln, they say he was supposed to so-called free the slaves, but yet he continued to press for Thanksgiving to continue on as a holiday. Let's get this.
They don't tell you that, though.
They don't tell you that in school. But these the men that's on Mount Rushmore as supposed to be wise and intelligent and sincere men. It says later Abraham Lincoln decreed Thanksgiving to be a legal national holiday during the Civil War. On the same day, he ordered troops to march against the starving Sioux in Minnesota. This story doesn't have quite the same fuzzy feeling associated with as the one where the Indians and Pilgrims are all sitting down together at the big feast. But we need to learn our true history so it won't ever be repeated. Next Thanksgiving, when you gather your loved ones to thank God for all your blessings, think about those people who are all wanted to live their lives and raise their families. They also took time out to thank you. Time out to say thank you to the Creator for all their blessings. So this is and always will be the true meaning behind Thanksgiving. So I encourage brothers and sisters not to celebrate this day. Because if you celebrate this day, you know the Most High God is going to kill you. I gotta say it like that because it's real. And me and my brothers, we fasting. Brothers, we're not the only ones. Brothers and sisters in this truth, we fast on Thanksgiving, man. Because it's not no day of celebration. It's a day of mourning. And you still have our so-called Native American brothers and sisters on the day of Thanksgiving. It's called the day of mourning. Let me show you. That they mourn on the day of Thanksgiving. Each year on the fourth Thursday in November, recognizing the natural day of mourning, the observance is the opportunity to reflect on Native American heritage and the role Thanksgiving played in the lives of their ancestors. So it's still a day of mourning, man. Meanwhile, this is how you know the so-called white man, so-called white people, America doesn't care about our people. Because on the day you have our people mourning. Meanwhile, think about this. You have a people that's mourning. They got their land took. They mourning. They still mourning in 2023 the loss of their forefathers and foremothers. They ain't celebrating. They ain't riding no table. They ain't eating no food. They ain't laughing. They ain't joking. They mourning. But yet you have another people that's celebrating. They still celebrating the murder that was done to the Native American Indians. They don't care. You know, so it says, so that's the true meaning behind Thanksgiving. This is the true, what I just read is the true meaning behind Thanksgiving, man. No, the so-called white man came over to the land and started slaughtering our brothers and sisters, our Native American brothers and sisters. And then he took some in captive. He took some of our brothers and sisters and women and children captive and took them to England. So they knew what they was doing before they came over here. So let me get these precepts real quick. On my let me get these verses real quick. It's the book of Micah, chapter 2 and verse 2. And they covet fields and take them by violence. So throughout the whole Bible, this Bible is talking about the so-called white man. It don't have to say white man. It don't have to say Esau. Just through the spirit, you know that it's talking about the so-called white man. He's the enemy. He's the devil that the Bible speaks of. The Bible always speaking on his acts and speaking against him. It says, and they covet fields. What other people you know covet fields and take them by violence? Throughout history, the so-called white man, he the ones that's talking about. In houses, he covet violence in houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. So that's what they did, man. On this day, Thanksgiving that's coming up Thursday, they took this land by violence. They didn't take this land fair and square. They deceived our people. They had our people thinking they was coming all lovey and dovey and caring, but they deceived our people, man. They didn't fight. They didn't take this land fair and square. They took it by violence, as this scripture said in Micah 2 and 2. Let me get this scripture right here. Deuteronomy 20 and 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the ends of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. So this is talking about the so-called white man. No, he had came over here swift as the eagle flieth, and we didn't understand his tongue. He was speaking English and Spanish and things like that. So why people didn't understand that? That's why they had to beat that language into us. They brought us as slaves and they taught us their languages. We didn't understand what they were talking about when they came over here. That we didn't understand what they were saying. So this is talking about the so-called white man. Chiefly, since I'm talking about Thanksgiving, when he came over here as swift as the eagle, when he came over here to America, he seen that the land was beautiful. He seen that it was gorgeous over here, and they ain't never seen nothing like it. So they wasn't caring about the so-called Native American brothers, our Native American brothers and sisters. They were thinking about one thing and one thing only: conquering, and seeing. They were trying to make money. They seen our Native American brothers and sisters, and they seen this land, America, as known as America now, as a business opportunity. That's why America is always, it's a business, man. They seen it as an opportunity to make money. That's why they took our brothers and sisters into slavery, and they made money off of them. And they set up businesses and things in America to make money. Now, when they knew we look at the California gold rush, there was a time too they came over here. I'm telling you, man, our Native American brothers and sisters, they went through hell, man. They went through hell just like us. The so-called white man knew it was gold and wealth over here. That's why they brought so many people. They brought so many boats over here, like I just read in the passage. They came over here with boatloads because they were coming to outnumber our brothers and sisters and overcome them. Because they knew they wasn't going to be able to fight them fair and square. So they had that. That's what the so-called white man always do. He always come with, I try to outnumber you, man. Because he know he can't beat you fair and square. And our brothers and sisters put up a good fight as well. This Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 2. Jeremiah 10:2. Thus says the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. So the Bible said, do not learn the way of the heathens. So when you celebrate Thanksgiving, you are literally learning the way of the heathens. Thanksgiving have nothing to do with black and Hispanics. Just like the 4th of July have nothing to do with black and Hispanics. So why do we celebrate these holidays? Thanksgiving, literally, this is a day, this is the so-called white people holiday. They came up with this day to celebrate the slaughter of our brothers and sisters. So this day have nothing to do with us. The Bible just said don't learn the way of the heathens. But our people have learned the ways of the heathen because they celebrate Thanksgiving because the so-called white man celebrated Thanksgiving. He told us to celebrate Thanksgiving. Our people celebrate Halloween because the so-called white man told us it's a holiday and that we celebrate Thanksgiving. Halloween. He let you get off work. Some people all work for 2 weeks for Christmas, and some people all work for a whole week for Thanksgiving. How is this a day? How is this let me get that precept. Let me get this precept. This is why America got to be destroyed, man. This Ecclesiastes chapter 7 and verse 9. Why does one day excel another, when as all the light of every day in the years of the sun? By the knowledge of the Lord they were distinguished, and he altered seasons and feasts. So he altered seasons and feasts, right? And we know those seasons and feasts that he altered was, in Leviticus 23. And also in Apocrypha, you got Day of Atonement, you got Feast of Tabernacles, you got Passover, you got Destruction of Nicanor, you got Purim. You got all these these different holidays that the Lord ordained for feast. Some of them have he made high days, which is in the Bible, the high holy days in the Bible that Christ celebrated, and hallowed them. And some of them hath he made ordinary days. Thanksgiving is an ordinary day. The Lord didn't ordain this day. He didn't ordain this day to be a high holy day in the Bible. Like I said, Thanksgiving came in way after Christ. So he didn't ordain this to be a high holy day. So why is we celebrating it? So you have some people say, I'm not celebrating, I'm just going to eat. If you eat the Thanksgiving food, you are celebrating. If you eat the Thanksgiving food, you are celebrating Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? Let me get this precept too. Because a lot of people say, because a lot of people say, well, that was Thanksgiving back then. That might have been a meaning back then, but now in 2023, we don't look at it like that no more. We don't look at it as a slaughter of the Native American Indians. We look at it as giving thanks and being able to be with our families and, coming together and eating a meal to just have thanks and to give honor and thank God. That's what people are saying. But what the Bible said, Job 14:4, who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean one? Not one. So who can make Thanksgiving clean if it was already made to be wicked? So you can't change it to something positive. When it was made, when Thanksgiving came about from the bloodshed of our Native American brothers and sisters, you can't change it in your own delusional mind to think, well, I know Thanksgiving came about from the slaughter of the Native American Indians, but I'm not gonna look at it like that. I'm not gonna look at it like that. I'm gonna look at it as love and positivity. That's madness. That's not, you deceiving your own self. You deceiving yourself, man. And this is the day This should be a day of mourning. This should not even be a day of celebration. Why is it a day of celebration? And you have people coming together, like I said earlier, just to eat. That's all a lot of people care about is food and just to eat. You can do that you can eat any other time. How come family don't never want to get together and eat any other time, only on holidays? Like Thanksgiving, like Easter, like Christmas. That's the only time my people really want to come together and eat. But you got any other time, any other month, y'all can literally plan a day, a month that don't got to be on no holiday, a time to get together at so-and-so house and eat a meal. But our people would rather decide to just eat on Thanksgiving, knowing the truth about it, knowing it's wicked, knowing it's demonic. But they still want to do it anyway. That's going to get a lot of people put to death. See, a lot of people look at Thanksgiving or celebrating Thanksgiving as a small matter. Or I'm just eating. I'm just coming together with the family. No. The Most High God looking at it like you are celebrating bloodshed of my people. You are literally partaking in a remembrance of the day that our people were slaughtered, bruh. You know, we was taught wrong. We was taught that this day was all peaches and cream and the Native American. We wasn't taught about the slaughter part. I wasn't in school. We was taught about just the Native Americans and the Pilgrims having a feast. And that was it. That's Thanksgiving. But no, that wasn't how Thanksgiving came about. Look at these holidays that we celebrate. Look into these days, man. A lot of these holidays that we celebrate are pagan. They go back to paganism. They go back to bloodshed of our people. Rape, rob, slavery of our people. And we celebrate these days and we don't know it because we're not getting taught the true meaning behind these days. So we have to we got to take responsibility and take time to look into these days and what they actually mean, so we know what we celebrating, man. And majority of our people, we shouldn't want to celebrate these days once we truly know what they mean, man. Because the truth shall set you free. You learn the truth shall set you free, man. So Lord, when this video is edifying, man, this is the truth behind Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving came about by the bloodshed of our Native American brothers and sisters, man, from the Pequot tribe. It's also known as the Pequot massacre. That's what Thanksgiving also, though we need to start calling it Thanksgiving and call it the Pequot massacre. When the so-called white man came over here and slaughtered the Pequot tribe. You know, so with that, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Shemi Awashai. To hell with Thanksgiving, not Thanksgiving. To hell with Thanksgiving and death to America. Shalom.